Welcome to Mixture of Knowledge. Here I show you the seeds that I've planted or the plants I've purchased in March 2021 and the progress made a year later on April 2022. I purchased these two kangaroo or joey paws at Home Depot for under $20 each. I first placed them on a southern facing wall, so the entire day they were in complete sunlight, and this ended up being way too much and they started to die and the leaves started to burn. So one of these potted plants ended up dying, and I moved the surviving plant to the patio area on the back wall, which has about half the sunlight. And as you can see here on April 2022, this joey paw is still surviving and it's in bloom. The little paws are kind of small right now, but they'll continue to grow. I wish the plant was a little fuller. It looks like something's still bothering it, but it has a lot less sunlight. I water it regularly and it's hanging in there. In March of 2021, I purchased two of these Cala lilies for $19.98 each at Home Depot. These have both survived this whole time, and I moved them away from the southern facing wall of full sunlight all day to under the patio where they get about half light now, and they're doing great and they're actually huge and they keep growing. I keep trimming them at the bottom because the weight of all the leaves from the pot keeps falling. They've been placed in a bigger pot and you trim the leaves and they just keep growing and they're huge now. And now in April 2022 they've actually had one bloom. Look at the small white flower at the bottom here. I planted the seed for this indoors on December 29, 2020, and then I planted it outside here on March 20, 2021, and look how small it is after almost 3 months of growth. Now look at how enormous this one plant is during April 2022. It's just huge and the flowers are beautiful, and this is the result that makes you feel proud to be growing from seeds. These two wildflower plants also were grown from seeds, also planted inside during December 2020, and then planted outside 3 months later in March 2021. I don't have photos then, but these two plants also grew quite large, but because they were annuals, they both passed away in the fall. What's interesting about annuals, and the reason why I will avoid them in the future, is on the seed package, it recommends to cut the plants down or mow them down in the fall to promote seed development. Just a sad ordeal for annuals. I'm sticking with perennials. At the Home Depot, I bought this osteospermum for $16.98, and again another annual. So it died after just a few months. These four plants here were grown from seeds indoors and also planted here after 3 months of growth, and after a while, they all died as well while still being small. Now let's talk about succulents. Succulents seem to be the heroes of home flower beds. They all always survive and seem quite hardy. Look at these three succulents. Planted here are small plants, and a year later are huge. Then I went to Lowe's and purchased these four plants for only under $7 each. What a bargain, right? So I planted them in the ground here in a row. This area is in full sunlight all day long. And yet, by the fall, 3 had died, with only the salva red barely holding on now and quite small. So for $7 each, they ended up being 7 times 4 is $28 for this one surviving one, and it's pretty small. These two wildflowers were grown from seeds, grew up to be quite large, then in the fall they stiffened, turned brown, and died because, well, they were annuals. These 8 small plants, plus these 4 small plants, also were grown from seeds and planted here after about 3 months of growth indoors, and all of these ended up dying young and small at different times throughout the year. Now let's look at the costs. The 2 joey paws were $19.98 each. The 2 calla lilies were $19.98 each. The 1 osteospermum was $16.98. The 4 potted plants at Lowe's were only $6.48 each, for a grand total of $122.82. So there were 9 purchased potted plants, and so far only 4 have survived. So you take the total $122.82, divide that by the 4 surviving plants, and that nets an average of $30 each per plant. You could look at the cost of growing the seeds indoors with the Burpee tray system and the LED lights in the seeds, but those costs were also carried over into the following year, and I have another video on that, so we won't go into those costs here, but check out my other video for later in 2021, growing from seeds into 2022. Please hit like and subscribe, that helps a lot, and thank you for watching. Hope you found this video helpful.